Before the story begins, take a gentle breath in through your nose and a long, unhurried breath out through your mouth. Let your shoulders melt away from your ears. Feel the weight of your body being lovingly supported by the bed beneath you. Imagine a warm blanket of golden light resting on your forehead, smoothing your thoughts, and then drifting down to soften your eyes, cheeks, and jaw. Your tongue relaxes, and your breath loosens like a ribbon. Another breath in, filling your chest like a soft bellows, and out, slower than before, as though the world has given you permission to rest. With each easy exhale, imagine the quiet twinkle of snowflakes, each one landing softly on the window of your mind, muffling the day and inviting the night to be gentle. You are safe, and you are cherished. You can drift with me now into a story meant to cradle you like a lullaby. You stand at a small winter station that feels as though it were sketched out of a dream lantern swinging from iron hooks, casting amber halos onto the cobblestones, and a clock with elegant hands that move a little slower than time itself. The air is feather cold and delicious, scented with pine resin and the faint sweetness of roasted chestnuts from a nearby cart. Snowflakes descend in unhurried pirouettes, settling on your coat sleeve like tiny lace. You tilt your head and listen. Somewhere, beyond the hum of the world, a quiet train is approaching, its song a tender thread through the night. This is the night serene, the cozy train that travels through the snowy Alps when most of the world is sleeping. You can feel its presence before you see it, an anticipatory hush and a gentle tremor underfoot, as if the earth is pleased to carry such a kindly creature across its spine. When the train glides into view, its carriages are dark green with a velvet sheen, and each window glows like a candlelit invitation. Gold lettering, softly flaked with frost, curls along the side. Night serene, for dreamers and wayfarers. The words make you smile without trying. The conductor steps down from the nearest carriage, as if descending a staircase of music. He is tall and spruce in a midnight blue coat, with brass buttons that twinkle like stars, and a scarf that looks as soft as a whisper. A lantern dangles from his hand, filling the air with the aroma of warm beeswax. His eyes are a kindly grey, the colour of smoke curling from a cottage chimney. "Good evening," he says, in a voice that seems to already know your name. "We have a compartment waiting for you. This journey is meant to be restful from the very first step." At his boots, a snow-coloured cat threads a figure 8 around his ankles, pausing to study you with contented, almond eyes. A tiny bell on the cat's collar tinkles once no more, and the sound lingers as if cushioned in velvet. "This is Milky," the conductor adds, smiling. She patrols for unwelcome draughts and unpersuaded frowns. The pun arrives so gently, you hardly notice it. You only notice the warmth in your chest. You take your ticket from your pocket, a thick card, smooth as butter, with your name written in a looping hand. When the conductor stamps it, the stamp leaves a little constellation of stars, and you feel, for a heartbeat, a soft sparkle at the pulse of your wrist, as though the ink carried warmth with it. "Carriage 3, he says. "Compartment 7. A pot of tea will be waiting, and whatever pillow knows your name best." You step up into the train, where the air is like a warm embrace. The corridor is lined with polished wood and brass railings cool to the touch. Rugs run underfoot like woven streams, deep garnet reds, soft moss greens, and the sconces on the walls are frosted glass shells, each holding a miniature sunrise. Your footsteps are quiet, your breath slower already. You pass a little niche where a porcelain bowl rests, the sort shaped like a cupped hand, full of sugared almonds and candied orange peel. There is a small sign that reads, "For the sweetness of dreams." You take one almond. It crunches under your teeth like a delicate note, releasing a milky fragrance that fills your mouth with comfort. Your compartment door opens as if it has been expecting you. Inside, the room is a nest. There is a window that looks onto the platform, the glass etched with soft fern patterns from the cold outside. A pair of velvet seats face each other, their cushions plump, a gentle plaid throw folded over one arm, as if it had been combed by sunlight. Above the seats, a rack holds your luggage, and there is a little brass swan lamp with a shade the color of honey. On the small table between the seats rests a tray, a porcelain teapot with blue snowdrops curling around its belly, 2 cups on saucers, and a jar of alpine honey with a wooden dipper. Steam sighs from the spout of the pot, and when you pour, the tea is the color of amber seen through a violin. Its aroma is wildflower and a hint of time, as though summer had left you a love letter to find in winter. You sit by the window, warm cup in your hands. The platform looks like a music box that someone has wound, then almost, but not quite let go. The lanterns sway, the snow sifts, and a trio of travelers share a laugh. A grandmother in a cranberry coat whose cheeks are like winter apples, a musician with a violin case cradled as tenderly as a child, and a young baker carrying a paper bag of pastries that breathe out cinnamon into the cold. You watch them disappear into other carriages with the sense that you are all part of the same soft story written in a gentle hand. Milky the cat appears at your door, knocks once with a paw truly, a polite tap, and slips inside, tail high as a question mark. She hops onto the seat opposite you and folds her paws with ceremony, eyes half-lidded, the picture of Zen. When you place a bit of pastry on a napkin, someone has left a plate of buttery sablés. Under a silver dome, she sniffs it delicately, decides she will taste it later, and instead presses her cheek to your fingers, offering the exact warmth you didn't know you needed. She purrs like a tiny engine, syncing her rhythm with the slow thrum in your chest. The train gives a whispering sigh, like a storytelling elder drawing breath. Bells chime soft as snowfall. Through the window, the conductor lifts his lantern and nods to the driver. Then the night serene begins to move so gently you feel it first in your heart and only then in your body. The world outside drifts, the platform slipping away like a page turning. Lanterns become commas of light, snowflakes a punctuation of hush. You breathe in steam from your tea. It kisses the tip of your nose and carries the taste of meadows resting under snow. As the station recedes, the darkness of the countryside unfurls around you, deep, blue and velvety, embroidered with scattered farmhouse windows. The snow-brushed pines stand like quiet guardians along the tracks. Every now and then, the train crosses a small bridge, and the sound, such a polite sound, taps out a lullaby beat. The wheels murmur to the rails. Hush, shush, hush, shush, shush, like the ocean's cousin who lives in the mountains. You lean back and let your gaze soften, tracing the soft signatures of frost on the glass. They look like botanical drawings of a forgotten time, fern fronds, feathered leaves, and the delicate spirals of a snail's winter dream. On the rack above, a tin of lavender sachets shifts with the train's sway and releases its breath into the compartment. You feel the lavender gathering your scattered thoughts and tucking them into neat, sleepy folds. On the wall, there is a framed map of the night serene's route, rendered in almond cream paper and ink, the color of plum. Little stars mark stopping places, Edelweiss halt, Foxglove curve, Lullaby pass, Moonmilk tunnel, and summit of snow's softest breath. The names are soothing to read, and each one feels like a promise that the world can be gentle. You trace the line with your finger and feel the faintest hum beneath the paper, as if the map itself is alive, guiding the train with kindness. A soft knock draws your attention. A steward with a tray, cheeks rosy, wearing a waistcoat in a pattern of twinkling constellations. Warm water bottles, he says, smiling, holding out a bottle, dressed in a knitted cover, the color of oatmeal, and perhaps a night biscuit, honey, oat with a whisper of orange. You accept both, the bottle like a tame son in your hands. When you tuck it at your feet, heat drifts up your legs, calming and certain. You take a nibble of the biscuit. It tastes like childhood afternoons in gentle hands. The steward leaves a small card on the table. If you need anything at all, ring once. If you need nothing, simply rest. Milky tests the bottle's warmth with a paw, approves, and curls along the window ledge like a scarf. A reflection in the glass has a dreamy glow, as if another cat in another world is also settling down. You sip the last of your tea, add a spoon of honey to the remaining warmth, and watch the honey run in a golden ribbon, turning the cup into liquid amber. Outside, the mountains begin to show themselves, first as soft shadows, then as more defined silhouettes, pale and luminous under the moon. Their snowy shoulders reflect light as if they, too, are lanterns steady and kind. You can almost hear them breathing, slow and ancient, teaching the sky how to be at ease. A low star hangs above a ridge like a watchful eye, and for a moment you feel it wink, as though acknowledging that you are exactly where you need to be. The train's motion settles into you like a lullaby remembered from long ago. You stand to draw the curtains half closed, leaving a slim crescent through which the world can still murmur. The compartment darkens to the color of hot chocolate. You slide your shoes under the seat, tug the plaid throw over your knees, and rest your head against a pillow that somehow knew the shape of your dreams before you did. There is a book on the table you hadn't noticed, a cloth-bound journal with a pattern of snowdrops and small silvery keys. When you open it, the pages smell faintly of vanilla and old libraries. The first page holds a line written in an elegant hand. Write only what brings you peace. You sign your name beneath the sentence and close the book, as if sealing a pact with the night. The cover is warm from your touch. As the night serene carries you deeper into the snowy Alps, you let your breath match its rhythm. In, out, hush, hush. With each exhale, you feel the tender unraveling of the day's knots. Your thoughts find their nests, tucking in their heads beneath soft wings. You realize that here, on this train, you are not traveling to escape anything, but to arrive more fully in yourself, rested, unhurried, held, milky purrs. The swan lamp's light dims itself a little further, as if shy. Somewhere down the corridor, a violin sighs a single, velvety note a good night from the musician you saw on the platform. It hovers in the air like a promise. You close your eyes for a moment and imagine the next station's lanterns waiting up ahead, bright and patient, like friendly faces in the snow. The train hums onward, carrying you gently into the quiet folds of the night. You are still nestled in your compartment, the plaid throw warm over your knees, the lavender scent lingering like a lullaby. The night serene moves with the calm confidence of something ancient yet endlessly kind, like a river flowing along a path it has known for centuries. Every sway of the carriage rocks you further into comfort, like a cradle designed for weary travelers who wish only to rest. Outside, the snowy world has thickened. Where before there were small cottages with lights glowing like golden buttons, now the countryside has given way to open stretches of white. The snow lies deep and plush, smoothing the earth into a single, endless quilt. The moonlight spreads across it with a silver brush, painting soft shadows from pines that lean like friendly guardians at the edge of the tracks. You notice how the train's lanterns, set at intervals along the carriages, send halos of light onto the snow, so it looks as though fireflies are guiding you forward. Each flicker feels like a gentle reassurance. Yes, you are going the right way. Yes, this is safe. You reach for your cup again, only to find that Milky, the snow-colored cat, has curled herself tightly around it as though guarding your tea. She lifts her head, blinks at you with slow affection, and pushes the cup gently toward you with her paw. The tea is still faintly warm, as if she has been keeping it heated with her dreams. You sip, and the taste is richer now, infused with something elusive, like starlight melted into honey. You sigh, and the sigh feels like a song of gratitude. A faint sound trickles through the corridor, delicate as lace. It is the violinist, practicing once again. Tonight, though, the notes are different, long, languid, stretched like ribbons fluttering in a soft breeze. They don't form a tune as much as a mood, and the mood is serenity itself. You imagine the bow gliding across strings, and you can almost feel the vibration in your chest, harmonizing with the rhythm of the train wheels. Hush, shh, hush. Together, train and violin create a lullaby meant for the Alps alone. You lean closer to the window. Frost flowers bloom on the glass, their patterns curling outward in spirals and leaves. Each breath you exhale fogs a small circle, which clears to reveal the mountains drawing nearer. They rise like silhouettes of sleeping giants, their ridges softened by snow. The train begins to climb, but the ascent is so steady, so respectful of the night's hush, that you barely notice except for a slight tilt in your seat. Your stomach feels none of the motion, only your heart does, lifting as though it, too, is climbing. The conductor passes your compartment with his lantern, the warm light brushing through the crack beneath your door. He hums a tune under his breath, low and steady. Milky stirs, stretches like a ribbon, and hops to the door as though to greet him. You hear the conductor chuckle, his voice like a cozy hearth. "All well in there?" he asks softly, and you murmur your reply. He doesn't need words. Your contentment is written in the stillness of the room. He taps his lantern once against the doorframe, like a blessing, before continuing down the corridor. The snow outside thickens further, now falling in velvet curtains. Each flake swirls with its own mysterious pattern, yet together they move as one, a dance choreographed by the night wind. You imagine opening the window and stretching out your hand, the flakes melting against your skin, cool kisses fading into warmth. But here, inside, everything is hushed and golden. The swan lamp, the steaming tea, the purring cat, the weight of the throw blanket across your lap. You realize the train itself is like a cocoon, spinning safety around you as the storm outside sings its song. Soon the steward returns, this time with a tray holding a tall glass cloche. Inside is a single candle, its flame flickering calmly, though you can see no draught. He places it on your table. "The candle of first stretch," he explains in a soft voice. "It marks the beginning of our journey into the true Alps. Burn it and it will last until dawn, steady and strong, like a heartbeat for the night. He bows slightly and leaves you to the glow. You watch the flame move gently, casting golden reflections across the frosted window. It feels alive, like a companion meant to watch over you while you rest. You nibble the remainder of the honey oat biscuit, each crumb soft as snowflakes, dissolving on your tongue. The sweetness seems to magnify the warmth in your chest, and you sink further into your seat. Outside, the train passes through a small alpine hamlet, just 3 cottages grouped together, their roofs sagging beneath blankets of white. A lantern glows on each doorstep, though no figures move. Still, you imagine the people inside, perhaps an old woman knitting by the fire, a child falling asleep with a storybook open on their chest, a shepherd polishing a bell for his flock. The train does not stop. It glides quietly by, as though wishing them sweet dreams without disturbing their rest. Milky has now curled at your feet, paws tucked beneath her, tail wrapped like a perfect circle of protection. Her breathing is slow, even, coaxing your own into rhythm. You realize you are breathing with the cat, with the train, with the night, all of it sinking together into one slow, eternal breath. The Alps outside glow faintly silver, their ridges sharpening against the sky, and above them, the stars multiply like lanterns carried by invisible hands. The constellation Orion tilts on his side, as though watching the train's passage. The stars blink gently, not bright and piercing, but soft, as though padded with velvet. At this moment, you feel time stretch. You cannot tell if the train has been moving for minutes or hours, if the candle has burned 1 inch or none at all. The journey has dissolved time into something slower, something kinder. You sip your tea again and realize it is endless. No matter how many sips you take, the pot replenishes itself, steam curling upward like a loyal spirit. You close your eyes for a moment, and behind your lids, you see the snowy world, just as clearly pines heavy with snow, the winding tracks curling around mountainsides, small bridges arching over frozen streams. You picture yourself not as a passenger, but as the snowflake itself, drifting weightlessly, choosing the train's roof as a place to rest. You imagine lying there, listening to the warmth inside, while the night carries you both forward. As the train rounds a bend, the first true glimpse of the high Alps appears. Mountains rise in layered tiers, their peaks jagged but softened by white. Valleys dip into shadows, where pines gather thickly, and somewhere, faintly, you hear the far-off call of an owl, muffled by snow but clear enough to reach your heart. It feels like a greeting, or perhaps a blessing. You are safe, little traveler. Go where the night leads you. The candle flame flickers once, not in distress, but in acknowledgement, as if it too has heard. You stroke Milky's fur, soft as warm snow, and she murmurs approval. Your body feels heavier now, in the best way, each muscle surrendering, each thought folding into a quieter one. The train rocks you further into ease, like a lullaby told in motion. Soon, you know, the train will reach Edelweiss Halt, the first mountain stop. But for now, you are content to let the snowy stretch carry you, each moment a bead on a string of calm. The night serene moves, the stars hum, and the Alps cradle you in their silence. You let your eyes drift closed once more, the candle flame imprinting golden warmth behind your lids. You are not asleep yet, but you are close, the story itself tucking you deeper, the night whispering that there is nowhere else you need to be. The rhythm of the train has become so natural, so steady that it almost feels like your own heartbeat guiding you deeper into the night. You are half awake, half dreaming, when a gentle change in motion rouses you, a slow easing, the sound of wheels softening against the rails, the hush of brakes that sound more like a sigh than a stop. You open your eyes to find the candle on your table still glowing, the flame calm, unwavering. Milky stirs at your feet, stretches one paw, and blinks up at you as though to say, "We have arrived somewhere special." You pull the curtain aside, and the sight outside is like a page from a snow-kissed fairy tale. The train has come to rest at a small platform tucked into the folds of the mountain. Above it, a cliff rises like a guardian wall, its ledges wearing blankets of white, dotted with tiny evergreen trees dusted in frost. The station is called Edelweiss Halt. You know this because the name appears in curved brass letters above a little wooden building, their shine softened by snowfall. The building itself glows with golden light spilling from lace-curtained windows, as though a family of lanterns lives inside. On the platform, lantern poles are capped with snow, each flame burning inside, like a star tucked into a mitten. Wooden benches wait patiently, their slats brushed with a thin layer of frost, and just beyond the platform, a cluster of alpine chalets nestles together, their chimneys puffing threads of smoke into the night sky. The air outside seems alive, crisp and crystalline, though from your seat in the warm compartment you feel only its freshness, not its chill. It is as though the glass itself allows only the beauty to enter, keeping the cold away. You notice a small crowd gathered on the platform, though they do not bustle or hurry. They move slowly, gently, as though respecting the stillness of the snow. A woman in a thick woolen shawl carries a wicker basket of white flowers edelweiss, their petals glowing pale against the dark. She hands one bloom to each passenger who steps off the train, her smile quiet, her nod reassuring. A pair of children, wrapped in scarves that trail like ribbons, play near the edge of the platform, building a little snow figure with pine cones for eyes. Their laughter is soft, muffled, as if the snow itself cradles their voices before they drift into the mountains. The conductor passes your door, lantern in hand. He pauses, noticing your gaze through the window. "Edelweiss Halt," he says warmly. "We stop here for a short while. Passengers may stretch their legs, sip a little mountain tea, and gather a flower for luck. Would you care to step out for a breath of alpine air?" His invitation is gentle, not pressing, and you find yourself nodding, curiosity blooming, like a candle in your chest. You slip into your coat, wrap the plaid throw loosely about your shoulders, and follow him to the platform. The moment the carriage door opens, a kiss of cold air greets you, not biting, not harsh, but bracing in a way that feels cleansing, like clear water against your skin. Snowflakes fall steadily, catching in your hair and coat, each one a fleeting jewel. You breathe in deeply, and the air tastes of pine needles, wood smoke, and something faintly floral, as though the mountains are steeping their own secret tea. The woman with the basket approaches, her hands gloved in wool. She offers you a single edelweiss bloom, its petals white with a hint of silver shimmer. "For luck on your journey," she whispers. You accept it carefully, noticing how sturdy yet soft it feels, its stem cool against your fingers. You tuck it into your coat pocket, and it seems to radiate calm, as though it carries the blessing of the mountains themselves. Nearby, a small wooden stall offers cups of steaming tea. The steward from the train, still wearing his constellation-patterned waistcoat, ladles the tea into porcelain cups. You accept one, holding it between your palms. The aroma is unlike anything you've tasted before. Wild alpine herbs, honey, and a note of lemon that feels like morning, even though it is the middle of the night. When you sip, the warmth slides through you, clearing any lingering edges of thought, leaving behind only softness. Around you, passengers stand in clusters, sipping their tea, breathing the mountain air, each of them looking more serene than when they arrived. You wander a little farther along the platform, where a railing opens to a view of the valley below. The sight makes you pause. Far beneath, the world lies spread like a silver quilt, stitched with winding rivers frozen into gleaming ribbons. Pines cluster thickly in the valley, their tops dusted white, and above them the sky stretches vast and velvety, embroidered with stars. The moon hangs like a lantern, round and tender, casting its glow over everything. You feel as though the Alps themselves are alive, breathing beneath the snow, holding you in their embrace. Milky pads silently to your side, her paws leaving the faintest prints in the powder. She hops onto the railing, sits neatly, and tilts her head, as though admiring the view too. Her tail curls around her paws, and she looks utterly at home, as though the Alps are just another corner of her living room. She presses her head briefly against your hand, a reminder that even in vastness, you are not alone. The violinist emerges onto the platform, case in hand. Without opening it, he bows deeply to the mountains, as though greeting old friends. The grandmother in the cranberry coat follows, placing a hand on his arm, and together they stand in quiet awe. The baker sets down his paper bag, now fragrant with cinnamon sugar, and breaks a pastry in half to share with the children. Their laughter rises again, gentle as snowfall. Everything here feels harmonious, as though all travelers, mountains, and stars are part of the same gentle story. After some time, though, it feels both fleeting and endless. The conductor calls softly, "The night serene will soon continue." His voice carries like the chime of a bell, clear but not hurried. Passengers begin to return to their carriages, still moving slowly, unwilling to break the spell. You take one last deep breath of the alpine air, one last glance at the lantern-lit chalets, and return to your warm compartment. Milky slips in ahead of you, tail high, already claiming her favorite spot by the window. The train shudders faintly, then begins to move again. The platform drifts away, lanterns shrinking into dots, until the station is just a glow against the vast dark. You settle once more into your seat, tea still warm in your hand, Edelweiss blooms safe in your pocket. The candle flame winks, gently, steady as ever. As the night serene climbs higher into the mountains, you feel as though you've carried something with you, a piece of Edelweiss Holt's blessing, a soft strength that will follow you all through the snowy journey. Your eyelids grow heavier as the train rocks you forward. Outside, the snowy peaks gleam, the valleys hush, and the stars above seem to nod in agreement. You are safe, you are cherished, you are exactly where you need to be. The night serene glides steadily higher into the mountains, and the candle on your table burns without a tremor, its flame steady as the train itself. You are nestled back in your seat, the plaid throw pulled over your shoulders now, the Edelweiss flower tucked securely in your coat pocket. Milky dozes at the window, her nose pressed against the glass, a tiny cloud of fog forming and fading with each quiet breath. The world outside is snow quiet, lit by the moon's silver glow, the peaks so near they seem to lean toward the train, offering protection. After Edelweiss halt, The journey feels quieter still, as if the very mountains have hushed to listen. The tracks curve gently, following the spine of a ridge, and below, the valley glitters faintly with frozen rivers and sleeping villages. You watch the pines slide past, each branch carrying a quilt of snow, and your mind drifts into a rhythm as soft as breath. Hush, shh, hush. The train whispers, the Alps nodding in reply. Soon, the conductor appears again at your door, lantern light curling into the compartment. We're approaching the Moonmilk Tunnel, he tells you, in a warm hush, as though revealing a secret. His grey eyes gleam like smoke under starlight. It is the longest tunnel in these Alps, and it has its own story. Some say the walls glimmer as though painted with the milk of the moon itself. Others say it is where dreams gather before they drift into the night sky. He tips his hat, smiling, and continues down the corridor. You lean closer to the window, curious. The landscape opens briefly before the entrance, revealing a wide gorge where the moonlight pools silver over the snow. The tunnel mouth appears at last, carved into the mountainside, framed by icicles that hang like a crystal crown. Above it, carved letters in stone spell out Moonmilk, softened by age, frosted by time. The train slows just slightly as it enters. The sound changes. The steady hush, of wheels now layered with a gentle echo, like a song sung in a cavern. The candle flame on your table shivers once, then steadies, glowing more brightly against the sudden dimness. Outside your window, the world transforms. The tunnel walls are not black or bare, but softly luminous, streaked with pale minerals that shimmer like cream poured over stone. In some places, the surfaces glisten as though dusted with frost, yet they shine from within, not from the touch of the cold. You press your palm to the glass, and for a moment it feels as if you could step into the glow, walking among stones that breathe light. The walls pass close, then open wider, then close again, like the inhaling and exhaling of the mountain itself. The train glides gently through, unhurried, giving you time to notice the details. Streaks that look like flowing rivers, frozen in milk, swirls that resemble clouds drifting across a night sky, and tiny droplets that sparkle as though stars have been captured inside the rock. Milky stirs, opening her eyes. She gazes at the glowing tunnel with her almond-shaped pupils widened, as though recognizing a place she's seen in dreams. She taps the glass once with her paw, and in that moment, a patch of the tunnel wall shines brighter, as if in response. You smile softly, feeling that the tunnel itself is alive, listening, and that Milky has greeted it like an old friend. The violinist's music begins again, faint through the walls, but this time it sounds different, more ethereal, as though the tunnel carries the notes in long ribbons and hangs them in the air. A single note lingers far longer than it should, echoing until it feels like it has become part of you. The train, the candle, the music, and your own breath weave into a single thread, and you feel yourself gliding along it, weightless, calm. Halfway through the tunnel, the train slows, almost imperceptibly, and the steward appears with a new tray. On it rests a crystal carafe, filled with something luminous, pale and creamy, glowing faintly in the dim light. He sets a small glass before you and pours. The liquid looks like melted pearl, smooth and thick, and when you sip it, the taste is unlike anything you have ever known. Hints of vanilla, cool spring water, and the soft sweetness of milk warmed by starlight. Moon milk, he explains softly, a gift from the mountains themselves. It calms the heart and clears the mind. He leaves the carafe for you to enjoy, bowing quietly as he withdraws. As you drink, you feel warmth spread through you, softer and deeper than any tea. Your thoughts quiet further, like birds settling their wings in the nest of your chest. The candle flame glows brighter for a moment, as if fed by the same magic. Milky presses her head against your knee, purring low and steady, her body a little engine of peace. The tunnel continues, winding gently, always glowing, always echoing the lullaby of wheels and strings. In the dimness, time seems suspended. You might be in the tunnel for moments, or for hours. It doesn't matter. You feel as though you have entered the space between waking and dreaming, where the world is neither day nor night, but something kinder. At last, the faintest shift of air tells you that the tunnel is ending. A brighter glow appears ahead, the moon itself, waiting patiently outside. The train glides from shadow into silver light, emerging onto a high viaduct that spans a wide valley. The contrast makes you sigh with wonder. Behind you, the tunnel mouth still glimmers faintly, like a star refusing to go dark. Ahead, the Alps stretch vast and open, their snowy ridges glinting in moonlight. The conductor passes once more, lanterns swinging. "You have crossed the Moonmilk Tunnel," he says with quiet pride. "From here, every dream flows more easily." His words sink into you like a blessing, and you believe him. The candle steadies, milky curls close, and the train moves onward into the night, carrying you deeper into its story, deeper into calm. The night serene glides away from the mouth of the Moonmilk Tunnel, leaving its glowing walls behind like a dream you know you'll carry with you forever. Outside, the Alps stretch in their vastness, the peaks now closer than before, each one touched with moonlight, so gentle it looks like silk draped across stone. The air beyond the window is so clear that the stars feel almost within reach, scattered like seeds across the deep velvet sky. The train begins a long, graceful bend. The conductor's map had shown this place. Foxglove Curve. The name itself makes you smile, soft and inviting, like something whispered in a fairy tale. The tracks arc along the side of the mountain, circling a wide valley far below. From your window, you can see the carriages ahead, each one lit like a lantern, each window glowing golden, as though the train carries dozens of tiny fireside gatherings across the night. As the night serene leans into the curve, the candle on your table wavers, then steadies, as though bowing respectfully to the mountain's path. Milky sits upright now, tail curled neatly around her paws, her gaze steady on the valley. Her ears twitch at the faint sounds carried on the alpine air, the far-off murmur of a stream hidden under snow, the distant call of an owl, the whisper of the train's wheels on the rails. All of it blends together into a single lullaby. You peer down into the valley, and your breath stills at the sight. Foxglove flowers bloom there even in the snow. Their tall, bell-shaped blossoms glow faintly, lavender and white, clustered in patches that make the valley floor shimmer like a tapestry. The sight is otherworldly, yet deeply soothing. You imagine their fragrance carried upward on the night air, sweet, faintly herbal, tinged with honey. You cannot smell it from here, but somehow your chest feels lighter, your mind softer, as if the flowers are already working their magic. The steward returns with another tray, his waistcoat patterned now with tiny foxglove blossoms that seem to twinkle as he moves. On the tray rests a teapot and cups, steam rising in fragrant curls. Foxglove tea, he explains, in a voice as warm as the tea itself, gentle, calming, for the heart and the breath. He pours for you, and the liquid runs pale lilac into your cup, catching the candlelight like a secret glow. You lift the cup slowly, savoring the scent. It is sweet but not cloying, with a freshness like rain on wild flowers. The first sip warms your tongue, then your throat, and finally your whole chest, leaving a hush of calm in its wake. The warmth spreads outward, and you feel your shoulders release another layer of tension you hadn't realized was still there. You close your eyes, breathing deeply, letting the steam curl into your senses like a lullaby. When you open them again, the violin is playing once more. This time, the tune is tender, lilting, almost like a foxglove's bells chiming in the wind. The notes seem to follow the arc of the curve, winding gracefully, never hurried. Each sound lingers just long enough to leave a ripple in the air before melting into silence. You imagine the musician sitting by his window, bow gliding, eyes half closed, letting the mountains shape his melody. The grandmother in the cranberry coat passes your door just then, pausing to smile at you. She holds an edelweiss bloom in one hand, her fingers careful and reverent, and you notice that she, too, hums the violinist's tune under her breath. The baker follows, offering her a sugared pastry, and together they disappear into another carriage, their voices soft, their steps slow. Everyone on the train seems quieter now, as though Foxglove Curve has wrapped them all in a shared calm. The candle flame flickers brighter for a moment, casting playful shapes against the frosted glass. For an instant, you think you see the outline of blossoms dancing in the light foxgloves, nodding their heads as if greeting you personally. You smile, letting the thought sink into you like a gift. Milky hops onto the table, sniffs delicately at the tea, then curls beside the candle, her fur catching the glow as though she herself has become part of the flame. She purrs softly, the vibration syncing with the train's rhythm, with your breath, with the gentle curve of the tracks. The night serene leans into the bend a little more, then straightens slowly. The valley of Foxglove slides out of sight, but its calm remains, folded neatly into your chest. You sip the last of your tea, set the cup down carefully, and let your gaze drift to the stars again. They are brighter now, as if the curve has lifted you closer to them. Orion still lies on his side, but higher, steadier, his stars winking gently, as though approving your passage. The candle burns lower, but without hurry, its flame unwavering, steady as your own heart. You feel yourself soften further, thoughts growing quieter, your body heavy with comfort. The night serene has carried you safely through Edelweiss Halt, through the Moonlit Tunnel, and now around Foxglove Curve. Each stage feels like a chapter, each chapter like a lullaby, leading you closer to rest. As the train moves on into deeper night, the mountains loom tall and kind around you. The snow falls in hushed curtains, and the rhythm of the rails continues its lullaby. Hush, shush, shush, hush. You lean your head against the pillow, close your eyes for a moment, and let the sound carry you into a space where dreams wait patiently, ready to join the journey. The night serene moves onward, its carriages glowing softly against the deep winter dark. You feel the train slow again, not to stop, but to adjust its pace for a passage the conductor described earlier, a place called Lullaby Pass. Even the name feels like a sigh, like the gentle closing of a book at bedtime. You pull the plaid throw closer around your shoulders, settle more deeply into the seat, and watch as the world outside begins to change. The mountains open here, stretching wide to reveal a vast pass between their shoulders. Snow blankets the ground in rolling drifts, untouched except for the faintest trails where foxes or deer may have wandered in the day. Moonlight spills across it all, turning the pass into a glowing sheet of silver, so bright that it looks as though the earth itself has decided to shine. Above, the stars seem to lean closer, reflected faintly in the snow, as if the pass is both sky and ground at once. As the train enters this wide open stretch, the sounds shift. The steady hush of the rails remains, but now it carries an echo, a resonance that makes it sound like a lullaby sung by the mountains themselves. Every creak of the wood, every soft roll of the wheels seems tuned to a deeper harmony. You realize that the night serene is not just passing through Lullaby Pass, it is performing alongside it, creating a song only heard in this place, only at this hour. You take a sip of the last of your foxglove tea, still faintly warm in its cup, and sigh contentedly. The air in your compartment feels softer now, infused with something you can't quite name. A fragrance lingers, faint and sweet, like chamomile warmed in honey, mingled with the freshness of snow. You close your eyes for a moment and simply breathe, letting it settle in your lungs, in your chest, in your very bones. When you open them again, the violinist is playing once more. The notes are hushed, cradled in the echo of the pass. This time, the melody is unmistakably a lullaby, tender and swaying, as if he is playing for a child nestled in arms, or perhaps for the whole train, rocking each passenger gently toward dreams. The tune rises and falls like breath, never hurried, never demanding, only inviting. The grandmother in her cranberry coat passes your door once more, humming the lullaby in time with the violin. Behind her, the baker carries another bag of pastries, this time the scent of cardamom drifting into the corridor. The two children, their scarves trailing like little comets, toddle after them, their laughter hushed but bright. Everyone seems slowed here, softened, as though the pass itself has wrapped them in a blanket. You look back to the window, and your heart catches gently. On the snow outside, faint lights shimmer, not lanterns, not stars, but something softer, closer. They look like floating orbs, pale and glowing, drifting low across the snow. At first you wonder if they are tricks of the moonlight, but then you see them move, weaving patterns like dancers. Some drift close to the train, their glow brushing the glass with a tender radiance. They are not fireflies, they are winter lights, spirits of the past perhaps, carrying the song of the mountains into the night. Milky notices them too. She rises, stretches gracefully, and pads to the window ledge. Her eyes glimmer as she watches the lights, tail swaying in slow rhythm. She taps the glass once with her paw, and one of the lights pauses, hovering as though responding to her greeting. For a moment, it pulses brighter, as if bowing, before drifting on. You feel warmth in your chest at the sight, as though you have witnessed a secret kindness shared between the cat and the night. The steward arrives once again, his waistcoat now patterned with embroidered stars that twinkle when he moves. In his hands, he carries a small wooden box. He opens it on your table, revealing an assortment of biscuits shaped like crescent moons and stars, dusted with sugar that sparkles faintly in the candlelight. For Lullaby Pass, he explains softly. They melt slowly, so the sweetness lasts as long as the song. You choose one, a crescent moon, and place it on your tongue. It dissolves gently, releasing flavors of vanilla, almond, and a hint of lavender, lingering long after the biscuit itself has gone. The train slows slightly again, coasting in reverence through the widest part of the pass. You gaze out once more and notice that the lights have multiplied, scattered across the snow like a constellation fallen to earth. They move in time with the violin's lullaby, swaying and drifting, filling the valley with a sense of timeless calm. It feels as though the world has stopped, holding its breath so you may rest. Milky curls close to you once more, her purr blending with the rhythm of the rails, with the melody of the violin, with the sigh of the pass. You feel your own breath deepen, matching theirs, slower and slower, until you are floating in the harmony. The candle flame lowers slightly, but its glow feels steadier than ever, anchoring you in this cocoon of light and music. You realize that every part of this journey, every station, every curve, every pass, is not just carrying you through the Alps, but carrying you deeper into yourself, into peace. As the night Syrian leaves Lullaby Pass, the lights fade gently into the snow. The violin falls silent, and the stars reclaim their place above. Yet the calm remains, tucked into you like another blanket, another layer of rest. You close your eyes briefly, and in that moment between waking and dreaming, you hear it once more, the lullaby of the mountains, echoing softly, telling you that you are safe, you are cradled, you are loved. The train hums steadily upward, carrying you closer to the heart of the Alps. You are warm in your compartment, swaddled in the plaid throw, the candle on your table burning low but steady. Milky dozes at your feet, her ears twitching occasionally as though she hears the whisper of the mountains outside. After the hush of Lullaby Pass, the night serene feels even more cocooned, as though the world beyond has grown vast and quiet, so you may drift deeper into calm. Ahead lies a place the map had marked in delicate plum ink, the summit of snow's softest breath. Even the name seems to exhale slowly, inviting you to match its rhythm. The train ascends in long, patient spirals, wrapping itself around the mountain like a ribbon. Each turn reveals glimpses of the valleys below, now glowing faintly under a quilt of moonlight. The air outside appears thinner, purer, so that the stars seem sharper, as though the sky has been polished clean. The corridor is quiet, passengers mostly settled into their compartments, lulled by the softness of the journey. Still, the violinist plays again, very softly this time, each note stretched like silk thread. The tune barely rises above silence, but you can feel it vibrate in your chest, as though your own breath has joined the music. You imagine his bow moving as slowly as snow drifting, his eyes closed, his body swaying gently with the rhythm of the train. The conductor passes with his lantern, pausing at your door. "We are nearly at the summit," he says, voice like velvet. "The air here is thinner, but kinder. When we crest the mountain, you may notice the world shift quieter still, softer still. Breathe with it, and you will feel the mountain's heart." His words are like instructions for a meditation, and you nod, already feeling your lungs match the steady pace of the train. Outside the window, snow begins to fall again, slow, deliberate flakes, each one distinct and visible as it drifts past the glass. They land on the pane, linger briefly, then melt into delicate rivulets. You trace their paths with your eyes, finding patterns like branches, like feathers, like maps of rivers flowing toward the sea. Each flake feels like a tiny lullaby, no two alike, yet all part of the same gentle song. The night serene climbs higher still, until the ridges outside glow as if lit from within. The snow on their slopes shines in soft gradients, ivory, pearl, silver, pale lavender, shifting with the light of moon and stars. Pines huddle lower down, their tops frosted, their branches heavy, while the peaks above stand bare, sculpted by centuries of wind. The silence outside is profound, yet it does not feel empty. It feels full, as though the mountain itself is breathing, slow and steady, and the train breathes with it. Then, the summit, the tracks crest over the ridge, and the view opens in a way that makes your chest expand. The world below disappears into mist, and before you stretches an endless sweep of snow, unbroken, glistening like the surface of a pearl. The moonlight here is softer, diffused, as though filtered through sheer fabric. The wind is gentle, and when it brushes the snow, it sends faint curls drifting into the air, the snow's softest breath. You see it, rising in wisps, glowing silver in the moonlight, floating lazily before dissolving into the night. Milky rises and pads to the window, her nose pressed against the glass. She watches the drifting wisps intently, her tail swaying. For a moment, one curl of snow breath drifts so near that it seems to bow toward her, as though the mountain itself has noticed her watchfulness. She blinks slowly in reply, a feline acknowledgement, and curls once again at your side, satisfied. The steward arrives quietly, as though walking on clouds. This time he carries a silver tray with 2 crystal glasses, each filled with a pale, sparkling liquid. Tiny bubbles drift upward lazily, glinting in the candlelight. "Summit water," he whispers, drawn from ice that melts only under starlight. It carries calm with it. He sets a glass before you and disappears as gently as he arrived. You take a sip, and the water is crisp, delicate, cool. It tastes faintly of pine, faintly of snow, faintly of something you can't name, perhaps stillness itself. The bubbles tickle your tongue, then dissolve into a lingering freshness, leaving your mouth clean, your breath easy. You exhale slowly, and it feels as though the mountain is exhaling with you, your breath, and it's blending into one. The train moves slowly across the summit, giving you time to linger in the view. The candle burns low but steady. The violin hums faint in the distance. Milky purrs against your knee. Everything is hushed, timeless. You feel as though you could stay here forever, suspended above valleys, surrounded by glowing snow, carried on the breath of the mountain. And then, almost imperceptibly, the train begins to descend. The summit fades behind, the pass ahead veiled in shadow. The snow's softest breath lingers in your lungs, in your thoughts, in the very rhythm of your body. You feel lighter, yet steadier, as though the mountain has whispered its secret directly into you. Rest is enough. Stillness is sacred. You are safe. The night serene glides downward now, carrying you deeper into the embrace of the Alps. The summit tucked gently behind you like a dream you will remember, even when you sleep. The night, serene, eases into its descent, winding gracefully down from the summit, its lantern-lit carriages glowing like a string of pearls against the snowy dark. You lean back in your seat, the plaid throw tucked warmly around you, still feeling the cool clarity of the summit water in your chest. The candle's flame burns lower now, its glow softer, as though in harmony with the train's slower pace. The conductor's map had shown the next place, written in looping plum ink. the hidden village beneath the pines. The very name seems to hum with mystery and comfort, a place both tucked away and deeply welcoming. You sip what remains of your sparkling water, milky curled in a perfect circle at your side, and let the anticipation flow through you like warm honey. Soon, the train rounds a curve, and the sight appears. Down in a wide hollow, where the mountains fold together, you see it, a cluster of wooden houses, each roof blanketed in snow, so thick it looks like frosting on a cake. Their windows glow with golden light, steady and kind, and thin curls of chimney smoke rise into the air, dissolving quickly into the starry night. Tall pines surround the village like a protective wall, their branches heavy with white, their silhouettes tall and steady. The train slows as it passes along the ridge above, giving you a clear view. You notice details, lanterns strung between the houses, glowing softly like fireflies. Narrow lanes packed with snow, marked by gentle footprints, and a small wooden bridge arched over a frozen stream, its railings dusted with frost. You can almost hear the quiet murmur of life within the homes, a kettle whistling, a log shifting in the hearth, the soft rustle of blankets being drawn over shoulders. Milky lifts her head and blinks at the sight, her whiskers twitching as though she recognizes the village. She hops to the window ledge, tail swaying, and watches intently, as if counting each glowing window. Her reflection in the glass looks like a little guardian spirit keeping vigil over the scene. The steward appears, this time carrying a wooden tray carved with pine cones and branches. On it rests a small ceramic pot and cups, steam curling upward in fragrant ribbons. Pine needle tea, he explains softly. The village below prepares it for us every night. It steadies the breath and warms the spirit. He pours, and the liquid is pale green, shimmering faintly in the candlelight. You lift the cup to your lips and inhale. The aroma is crisp and clean, like walking through a pine forest after fresh snow, yet softened with a sweetness that reminds you faintly of citrus. The taste is both refreshing and grounding, a gentle reminder of earth and air at once. Each sip feels like a deep breath drawn from the heart of the pines themselves. The violin begins again, its notes slower than before, deeper, as though resonating with the forest around the hidden village. The melody flows downward like water through the trees, steady and unhurried. You close your eyes and imagine the bow drawing long strokes, each one brushing the snow-covered pines, sending tiny cascades of flakes drifting gently to the ground. When you open your eyes, the train is still gliding along the ridge, and you notice figures in the village below. A man carries a lantern across the bridge, his boots leaving quiet prints in the snow. A woman in a shawl shakes a woolen blanket from her porch, the flakes catching in the lantern light as they drift away. Two children chase each other across the snowy lane, their laughter so faint it feels like part of the wind. And on the roof of one house, a cat, snow white like Milky, sits proudly, tail curled around its paws, gazing upward as though watching the train pass. Milky notices too. She presses her nose to the glass, and her tail swishes once. For a moment, you imagine the two cats exchanging a greeting across the distance, one by the fire of a village home, the other traveling through the night by your side. It feels like a thread connecting the train to the village, a quiet friendship woven by whiskers and snow. The grandmother in the cranberry coat passes again, this time holding a shawl newly knit, the yarn, the color of deep forest green. She pauses at your door, shows you the shawl with a smile, and you notice how her hands carry the scent of wool and pine. She nods once, as if to say, "The village is kind," even if you never step inside it, before continuing down the corridor. As the train moves beyond the ridge, the village slips slowly from view. The lanterns between the houses fade into pinpricks, the chimneys into faint wisps, until at last the pines close again around the tracks, sheltering the night serene as it glides onward. But the feeling of the village lingers, the sense of warmth, of hearths glowing behind frosted glass, of quiet lives held in gentle hands. You carry it with you, tucked somewhere deep, a reminder that even hidden places can shine like stars. The candle flickers lower, but the flame steadies, as though echoing the steady glow of the village lanterns. You sip the last of your pine needle tea, let Milky curl once more against your side, and feel your breath deepen. Outside, the pines sway in the night wind, their shadows long and soft, and the mountains seem to hum their approval. The night serene carries you onward, deeper into the snowy Alps, the hidden village, now a memory glowing gently behind you. You close your eyes for a moment, and it feels as though you are resting not just on the train, but in the village too, in its warmth, its hush, its safety. The night serene glides deeper into the valley, its wheels whispering against the rails, carrying you away from the hidden village beneath the pines. The pines themselves remain tall and steady on either side of the tracks, their branches bent under the weight of snow, their silhouettes black against the silver sky. The stars above shine more brightly now, as though the air has grown clearer with each mile. The conductor's map had shown the next landmark, the star-lit bridge. The name alone feels like a lullaby, a promise of something wondrous, yet utterly gentle. You lean forward slightly, anticipation mingling with calm, the plaid throw snug around your shoulders, the candle burning lower, but still steady at your side. The train slows a little as the forest thins, and soon you see it, a great bridge stretching across a deep gorge. Its arches rise gracefully from the cliffs, carved from pale stone that glimmers faintly under the moonlight. Snow rests on its railings in smooth blankets, and icicles hang like crystal pendants, catching the faint glow of the train's lanterns. Below, the gorge yawns wide, but it is filled not with darkness, but with light stars reflected in a frozen river far beneath, as if the heavens themselves have poured into the valley floor. As the night serene begins its crossing, the world seems to open on all sides. The sky is immense, crowded with constellations, Orion still tilting, the Pleiades clustered like jewels, the Milky Way stretched in a shimmering band. The frozen river below mirrors them so perfectly that for a moment you cannot tell where the sky ends and the earth begins. It feels as though the train is gliding between two heavens, suspended in a dream. Milky rises and pads to the window ledge, her body glowing faintly in the candlelight. She presses her nose to the glass, whiskers twitching, eyes wide as though she sees something more than stars. Her tail swishes slowly, steady as the train's rhythm, and for a moment you feel her awe joining yours, shared and silent. The steward arrives quietly, carrying a tray draped in a cloth embroidered with tiny silver stars. He sets it on your table and lifts the cover, revealing a crystal bowl filled with sugared plums, their skins sparkling as though dusted with frost. "For the crossing," he says softly, "they taste of winter nights and dreams made sweet." You take one, bite into it, and feel the tartness of plum softened by sugar, a burst of flavor that lingers long, like the afterglow of starlight. The violinist plays again, his melody slow and expansive, each note stretching into the night like a ribbon of light. The music seems to hang above the gorge, shimmering like the stars, blending with the hum of the train. You imagine the bow gliding across the strings, pulling light itself into sound, so that the sky and the music are one. As the train moves steadily across the bridge, you notice faint flickers of light in the gorge below. Not just stars, not just reflections. They drift upward, tiny sparks rising into the air, glowing briefly before fading. At first you think they are fireflies, but in this snowy alpine night, they are something else. Sparks of frost, perhaps, or the breath of the frozen river, luminous and alive. They rise like lanterns released into the night, drifting upward around the train, brushing softly against the windows, as though greeting each passenger. One spark pauses outside your window, hovering for a heartbeat before floating higher. Its glow is soft, golden white, and for a moment it feels as though it has acknowledged you, shared its light, then gone on to join the stars. You exhale slowly, heart warmed, soothed by the gentle wonder of it. The grandmother in the cranberry coat appears in the corridor, pausing by your door. She gazes out at the bridge with wide eyes, her hand pressed to the glass. "It feels like we are crossing into the sky itself," she whispers, voice trembling with awe. Behind her, the baker appears, holding a loaf wrapped in linen, and he nods solemnly, as if to say, "Yes, we are all carried by the stars tonight." The train continues its crossing, each wheel a heartbeat, each lantern casting steady light. The gorge below remains filled with stars, the sky above infinite. For a moment, you feel weightless, as though the night saran itself has lifted off the tracks, floating between heavens. The sensation is not frightening, it is freeing, expansive, like a dream in which you can finally fly. When the train reaches the far side of the gorge, the arches of the bridge fade behind into shadow. The forest closes in once more, but you still feel the stars within you, glowing quietly, steady as the candle flame. You take another sugared plum, savor its sweetness, and watch Milky curl once more by your side, her purr deep and steady, blending with the rhythm of the rails. The star-lit bridge is behind you now, but its light lingers inside your chest, in your breath, in the very stillness of the night. The night serene hums onward, carrying you deeper into its journey, deeper into rest. The night serene hums on, steady and calm, its lanterns casting golden halos along the tracks. You lean into your seat, snug beneath the plaid throw, your body softened by warmth and rhythm. The candle burns lower still, its flame a small but faithful glow. Outside, the forest rises again, dense and dark, the pines crowding close, as though eager to greet the passing train. The conductor's map had marked this stretch in gentle script, the forest of whispering pines. You can already feel the change as the train enters, the snow-muted hush deepening, the air seeming to thrum with something unseen. The trees stand tall and endless, their trunks straight as pillars, their branches sweeping downward in long arcs weighted with snow. The pines form a corridor, a cathedral made not of stone but of wood and silence. As the train moves between them, you notice a sound unlike before. It is faint but unmistakable, the whisper of needles shifting in the breeze. At first it seems random, a simple rustle of wind. But soon you realize it has a rhythm, almost a language, like voices too ancient to be understood, but too kind to be feared. The forest is speaking, and the night serene is listening. You tilt your head toward the glass, pressing your palm lightly against it. The sound of the whispering pines seeps into you, filling your chest with a calm resonance. The words are not ones you know, but the meaning is clear. Rest, rest, rest. It feels as though the trees themselves are singing you to sleep. Their song as old as the mountains. Milky rises from her curl, stretches long and slow, and pads to the window ledge. Her ears swivel, her eyes wide, whiskers twitching in rhythm with the whispering. She seems to understand, tilting her head as if answering back. For a moment, the sound grows clearer, like the pines have acknowledged her presence. She blinks slowly, then curls back against the glass, satisfied. The steward arrives once again, this time carrying a tall clay pot carved with pine branches. He sets it on your table and pours into a wooden cup. The liquid inside is warm and fragrant, releasing steam that smells of resin and smoke. Pine bark infusion, he explains softly, to ground the body while the forest sings. You sip, and the flavor is earthy, rich, with a hint of sweetness that lingers at the back of your tongue. It warms you from within, making you feel heavier, steadier, as though roots are growing gently beneath your feet, anchoring you to the earth. The violinist begins to play again, but his tune is quieter now, softer, blending so seamlessly with the whispering trees that it is hard to tell where the music ends and the forest begins. The melody sways like branches, sighs like needles, each note a breath, in harmony with the night. You close your eyes, letting it wash over you, and soon you feel as though you are inside the forest itself, lying beneath the canopy, wrapped in pine-scented air. When you open your eyes again, the forest glows faintly in the train's lantern light. You notice shapes among the trees, not people, not animals, but something gentler. They look like shadows at first, then like light, tall and slender forms moving in rhythm with the pines. They do not approach the train. They only sway, as though dancing with the whisper. Forest spirits, perhaps, keeping vigil over the night. You do not feel afraid, only soothed, as though they are guardians making sure you rest. The grandmother in her cranberry coat appears once more, pausing outside your door. She carries a small sprig of pine, tied with a red ribbon, and places it gently on the handle of your compartment. She smiles through the glass, nodding once, then continues on. The sprig glows faintly in the lantern light, a quiet blessing from the forest. The train moves slowly through the whispering pines, the sound constant, enveloping. It is like listening to the sea from afar, or the hush of rain on a rooftop, only deeper, older, steadier. You take another sip of the pine bark infusion, feel its warmth spread, and sink deeper into your seat. Your breath slows, your body loosens further. At last, after what feels like an eternity of gentle song, the forest begins to thin. The trees part gradually, their whispers fading into silence, until only the hush of the rails remains. The forest of whispering pines slips behind you, but its lullaby lingers in your chest, its rhythm steady as your own heart. The night serene glides onward, the stars returning above, the mountains watching in silence. The candle flickers, milky purrs softly, and you feel as though you are already halfway to sleep, carried by trees that will whisper in your dreams long after they have vanished from sight. The night serene glides quietly from the pine forest, its wheels humming like a lullaby stitched into the rails. The world outside opens once more, the trees falling back, to reveal a wide expanse of white. You pull the plaid throw a little tighter, sinking deeper into the cushion, your body warm and your mind softened by the pine bark infusion. The candle burns low but steady, its golden glow reminding you of a lantern set just for you, its flame small yet infinite in comfort. Ahead, the mountains part to reveal something extraordinary. The conductor had marked this place on the map with a single shimmering line, the Silver Lake, and now, there it island. The lake stretches vast and still, frozen into a sheet of silver that gleams under the moonlight. It is so smooth, so perfectly polished, that it looks like a giant mirror laid upon the earth. Stars glitter above and below, constellations doubled, so that for a moment you cannot tell whether you are gazing at the heavens or at their reflection. The night serene moves along the lake's edge, and the lanterns of the train dance in its surface, glowing like golden fireflies captured in glass. The air feels different here, even through the pane of glass, crisp, delicate, as though touched by 1,000 whispered secrets. You lean closer to the window, your breath fogging the glass slightly, and the sight steals it away again. Faint ripples of light move across the ice, though the surface is still. At first you think it is moonlight playing tricks, but then you realize the lake itself is glowing, faint pulses of silver drifting like waves, as if something deep beneath is breathing slowly, calmly. With you, Milky stirs and pads to the window ledge, her paws pressing softly against the glass. Her eyes widen, and she lets out a small, almost silent trill, as though greeting the lake. You notice her reflection doubled, one cat above the water, and one below, both watching in perfect stillness. For a heartbeat, you wonder which side is real, and the thought makes you smile. Perhaps both are. The steward arrives softly, his waistcoat now embroidered with small silver threads that gleam like ripples. On his tray rests a glass teapot filled with clear liquid, shimmering faintly as though starlight has been captured inside. Meltwater tea, he explains, from the Silver Lake itself, drawn in spring when the ice releases its first breath. He pours, and the tea is colorless, clear as glass, but its steam carries a fragrance soft, clean, like morning dew on grass, warmed by the first Sunday. You sip, and the taste is subtle, yet deep. It is like drinking stillness itself, a calm that settles in your chest and spreads outward through every limb. The warmth seeps into your hands, into your fingertips, loosening them as though you had been carrying weight you didn't notice until it lifted. You set the cup down carefully, already yearning for another sip, already feeling the lake's serenity inside you. The violin begins again, this time the melody slow and sweeping, long notes that stretch like reflections across water. The sound seems to float on the surface of the lake, gliding effortlessly, echoing just enough to sound doubled, one voice above, one voice below. It is music meant for silence, for stillness, for a lake that holds the sky in its arms. As the train curves along the edge, you see faint shapes on the ice. At first they seem like shadows, but soon you realize they are patterns, swirls and spirals, delicate as lace, etched into the frozen surface. Some look like flowers, others like stars, still others like waves. They shimmer faintly in the moonlight, glowing as though the lake itself has chosen to decorate its own body for this night alone. The patterns stretch for miles, endless and intricate, yet perfectly balanced, like embroidery sewn by invisible hands. The grandmother in the cranberry coat pauses by your compartment, gazing at the lake with eyes full of wonder. She presses her hand to the glass and whispers, "It feels as though the earth has drawn its own lullaby." Behind her, the baker appears again, offering her a sugared roll dusted with cinnamon. She accepts it without looking away from the lake, her smile soft as the snow drifting past. Milky curls back into your lap now, her body warm, her purr steady. You stroke her fur, absent-mindedly, eyes still fixed on the glowing patterns below. The candle flame flickers gently, casting tiny reflections in the glass, joining the stars above and the stars below until the whole world seems to be made of light. As the night serene glides along the silver lake, you feel your breath slow further. Each inhale seems to draw in silver calm, each exhale releasing whatever remains of the day. You sip the last of the meltwater tea, let it warm your chest, and close your eyes. For a moment, behind your lids, you still see the lake, endless and luminous, holding the sky, holding the train, holding you. When you open them again, the lake is still there, but the train is beginning to leave it behind. The patterns fade, the reflections shrink, the stars return to the sky alone. Yet, you carry the silver lake inside you now, a mirror of calm resting deep in your heart, waiting to be visited whenever you close your eyes. The night serene hums onward, candle low, cat warm, heart light. The frozen world outside welcomes you deeper into its embrace, its lullaby continuous, its story unhurried. The night serene glides smoothly away from the silver lake, its lanterns glowing faintly golden against the deep indigo of the night. You are still warmed by the meltwater tea, your breath easy and slow, milky purring in a little bundle at your side. The candle on your table has burned low, yet its flame is steady, as if it knows the journey is not yet finished, but still has many soft wonders to give. The conductor's map had shown the next place in delicate script, the letters curling like music, the Valley of Bells. Even before the train arrives, you begin to sense it. The rhythm of the rails quiets, the sound of the wind softens, and a hush falls, filled with an expectancy that feels almost like listening for the start of a song. They stand scattered across the valley like guardians, quiet for now, yet full of promise. Then, as the night serene passes the first cluster, the wind stirs, a soft chime rings out clear, delicate, a single note that hangs in the frosty air. The sound drifts across the valley, shimmering like a ripple across water. A moment later, another bell joins in, deeper, resonant, answering the first. Soon, more awaken, their tones weaving together into a song carried by the wind. It is not loud, it is not hurried. The bells do not clash or compete. Each note enters gently, waits, then fades, leaving space for the next. The valley becomes an orchestra of soft chimes, ringing in harmony with the train's slow passage. The night serene itself seems to quiet, as though listening respectfully, its wheels humming along in a hush, hush, hush counterpoint. Milky lifts her head, ears twitching, eyes half closed. She leans against the window, her whiskers trembling with each note, as though the bells are stroking the air. You reach out and stroke her fur in time, and she purrs, her vibration joining the valley's symphony. The steward arrives quietly, his waistcoat tonight patterned with tiny silver bells embroidered in thread that glints with each step. He carries a small brass bowl filled with sugared almonds, each one dusted with silver powder that sparkles faintly. Bell sweets, he says softly, for clarity of sound, for sweetness of heart. You take one, let it rest on your tongue, and it melts slowly, leaving a taste both nutty and sweet, lingering like the fading tone of a bell. The violinist begins to play again, but this time his music is not separate from the valley's chimes. He draws his bow slowly, matching the bell's rhythm, adding just enough to weave them together. The notes echo the tones outside, a dialogue between strings and bronze, between human hands and mountain wind. For a moment, you wonder if he is playing at all, or if the valley itself has taken his violin and added it to its song. As the train curves deeper into the valley, you see families moving among the bell towers, bundled in furs and shawls. They carry lanterns that sway gently in their hands. Some pause to strike the bells with padded mallets, their motions slow and reverent. Others simply listen, standing in the snow, their faces lit by lantern light and silver moon. A child runs ahead, scarf trailing, tapping each bell lightly with a wooden stick. The notes sparkle like laughter. His parents follow, smiling, their own bells ringing deeper, steadier tones. You press your palm to the window, feeling the sound not just in your ears but in your chest. The bells seem to speak not in words but in feelings, calm, gratitude, peace. The tones vibrate through your body, through the train, through the night itself. You take another slow breath, and it feels as though you are exhaling in harmony with the bells, your breath joining their song. The grandmother in her cranberry coat appears once more, this time holding a small handbell of her own. She pauses by your compartment, gives it a gentle shake, and the note rings out, clear and pure. She smiles at you, her eyes shining, and continues down the corridor, leaving the tone hanging in the air like a blessing. The train rolls onward, bells chiming and fading, chiming and fading, until the valley is behind you. The song lingers, softer now, carried faintly by the wind. Even as silence returns, you can still feel the resonance in your chest, as though the valley has left a bell within you, ringing softly every time you breathe. The candle flickers, but does not falter. The cat curls back into her circle. The train hums on. You rest your head against the pillow and close your eyes, the valley of bells still ringing gently in your dreams. The night serene glides out of the valley of bells, carrying the memory of soft chimes in its rhythm. The wheels murmur their lullaby against the rails. Hush, 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 steady and unhurried. You are heavy with comfort now, the plaid throw wrapped around your shoulders, milky curled warmly against your lap. The candle's flame is small but faithful, its light pooling gently on the table, painting golden halos on the glass. The map the conductor had given you showed the next place in tiny glowing ink, the lantern hamlet. Even the letters had seemed to flicker, as though written by candlelight. You sip the last of your almond sweet, the flavor lingering like a bell's fading tone, and look out as the train rounds another bend. There, nestled in a hollow between slopes, you see it. The hamlet is small, just a cluster of wooden cottages with steep roofs and snow piled high along their walls. But what makes it magical is the light. Lanterns hang from every eave, every porch, every fence post. Some are simple glass globes, some are painted with stars and moons, others shaped like animals, flowers, or tiny houses of their own. They glow in hues of gold, amber, and soft rose, swaying gently in the night breeze. The effect is breathtaking. The entire hamlet seems alive with warmth, a little constellation of earthly stars set among the snow. Each lantern sways in rhythm with the others, casting pools of light onto the ground, where snowflakes glisten like scattered diamonds. The cottages themselves are quiet, their windows glowing with hearth fires and shadows of people moving slowly inside. The train slows as it passes along the ridge above, giving you a long, lingering view. You notice a narrow street lined with lanterns strung overhead like garlands, each one glowing softly. In the center of the hamlet stands a tall pole wrapped in evergreen branches, from which dozens of lanterns dangle at varying heights, swaying together like a gentle chandelier. Milky rises, pads to the window, and sits tall, her eyes wide with reflection. The lantern light catches in her fur, making her look for a moment, as though she herself glows from within. She blinks slowly, the way cats do when they are content, and her reflection in the glass doubles the scene. Lanterns outside, lantern, cat, inside, the world both mirrored and real. The steward appears softly at your door, carrying a tray draped with fabric embroidered in glowing threads. On it rests a ceramic cup, steam curling upward. Lantern cocoa, he explains, setting it before you, sweetened with vanilla and spice. To bring the warmth of the hamlet with us, you lift it to your lips, and the taste is rich and velvety, thick with cream, laced with cinnamon and nutmeg. The warmth spreads immediately, softening every corner of your body, leaving only ease. The violinist plays again, his music lilting and bright, matching the sway of the lanterns. His notes rise like sparks, playful yet calm, weaving with the gentle light outside. You imagine his bow moving in arcs like lanterns swinging in the night, each stroke sending a little glow into the darkness. On the snowy street below, villagers move quietly among the lanterns. A woman carries a basket of bread, its steam visible in the cold air. A child runs ahead with a lantern shaped like a fox, the light glowing through its painted glass tail. A man pauses to light another lantern on a porch, lifting his candle carefully, then bowing his head, as though in thanks. Every gesture is slow, unhurried, full of reverence for the light. The grandmother in the cranberry coat pauses at your compartment again, holding a tiny paper lantern in her hands. Its sides are painted with stars, its flame glowing softly within. She places it on your table, beside your candle, and nods once before continuing. The paper lantern flickers faintly, but its glow joins with the candlelight, the two flames swaying gently in harmony. The night serene curves slowly past the hamlet, its lanterns gradually shrinking behind snow-laden trees. Yet, even as they fade, the feeling remains. The warmth of cocoa on your tongue, the softness of light on the snow, the memory of villagers tending their lanterns with care. You carry it inside you like a second flame, steady and kind. Milky curls back into your lap, her purr steady. The cocoa lingers in your chest, warm as a hearth fire. Outside, the stars return to their place above the mountains, but you still feel the glow of the hamlet, as though it has tucked itself into your dreams, waiting to light the way when you close your eyes. The night serene hums onward, candle steady, cat warm, body heavy with rest. You are deeper into the snowy Alps now, deeper into calm, deeper into the dream that carries you ever closer to sleep. The night serene glides gently away from the lantern hamlet, carrying with it the glow of countless little flames. Your cocoa cup sits empty on the table, but the warmth still lingers in your chest. Soft as an ember, Milky purrs low in your lap, her breathing slow and even. The candle beside you is very small now, its flame swaying lightly as though preparing to bow goodnight. The conductor's map had shown one more place before the final stretch, the meadow of falling stars. The name itself feels like a lullaby, promising a final wonder before rest. You draw the plaid throw tighter, lean against the cushion, and let the train's rhythm carry you closer. The forest parts, and the world opens into a wide, snow-blanketed meadow, stretching far under the sky. The train slows, as though in reverence. Above, the heavens seem lower, closer, and the stars are impossibly bright. Then, as you watch, the first one falls. A streak of silver arcs across the sky, slow and soft, dissolving into sparks before it fades. Then another, and another. Soon the night is filled with them gentle, unhurried streams of light slipping from the sky, as if the stars themselves are stepping down to rest upon the snow. The meadow below mirrors them, where each star seems to land. A faint glow appears on the ground, shimmering for a few breaths before melting into the snow. The entire meadow is alive with glimmers, as though the stars are planting themselves gently in the earth, leaving behind little blessings of light. You press your palm to the window, hardly daring to blink. The scene is so calm, so unearthly beautiful, yet it carries no urgency, no spectacle. The stars fall slowly, gracefully, one at a time, like snowflakes of light. The air seems hushed, waiting, breathing with you. Milky rises, pads to the glass, and presses her paw beside your hand. Her whiskers twitch, her tail flicks, once. For a moment, one falling star pauses in its descent, its glow lingering longer, brighter. It feels almost as though it noticed the cat's greeting. Then it drifts down to the snow, joining the others, leaving behind a glow that shimmers like milk poured across the meadow. The steward arrives, quiet as always, but tonight his waistcoat is embroidered with tiny silver threads that shine like falling stars when he moves. In his hands he carries a glass vessel filled with pale, glowing liquid. He pours it into a cup for you, and when you lift it, the aroma is sweet and airy, like vanilla and cool night air blended together. "Starfall milk," he says softly. It eases the last of your thoughts and carries you gently into dreams. You sip. The drink is warm, light, almost silky, and the taste fills you with a calm so complete that even your heartbeat slows, as if listening. Each swallow feels like starlight, dissolving inside you, softening every edge of your mind. You sigh deeply, long and content, and the sound seems to join the silence of the meadow. The violinist plays again, but only faintly, a thread of sound like the trail of a falling star. Each note glides, lingers, then fades, leaving space for the next. His music feels like part of the sky itself, a gentle weaving of sound and light. You imagine him sitting by his window, eyes half closed, bow gliding, as slowly as breath. The grandmother in the cranberry coat passes once more, stopping at your door. She holds a folded shawl in her hands, woven in threads of silver and blue. She sets it gently on your table, smiles, and moves on. You unfold it across your lap, and it glimmers faintly in the candlelight, as though it too has caught the blessing of the meadow. The train glides slowly across the meadow, letting you linger in the sight. Stars continue to fall, steady, unhurried, each one a soft whisper of light joining the earth. The meadow glows faintly, a vast sea of silver sparks, endless and calm. You feel your breath deepen, your body heavier, your mind quieter than it has been all night. At last, the meadow falls behind, but its glow lingers inside you, tucked like a secret light in your chest. The candle burns low, its flame small but steady. Milky curls close and warm, and you know the journey is nearing its end. The train hums onward, carrying you into the final stretch, into the heart of rest. The night serene hums along the last stretch of its snowy journey. The candle on your table burns so low now that the wick glows more than the flame, yet it shines faithfully, as though determined to accompany you until the very end. Milky is curled into the crook of your arm, her fur soft, her purr a steady vibration that matches the train's gentle rhythm. Outside, the Alps have softened. The peaks no longer rise sharp and vast, but settle into quiet slopes blanketed in silver. The trees are fewer now, the valleys broader, the night sky deeper, as if the whole landscape has exhaled into peace. You feel the change not only in what you see, but in your own body, the weight in your limbs, the looseness in your breath, the way your thoughts drift slowly, like flakes of snow in the wind. The violinist plays one last time. His melody is simple now, just a few long notes drawn tenderly, rising and falling like a lullaby breathed into the night. It is not meant to be remembered, only felt like the warmth of a fire, like the hush of snow, like the gentle sway of the train. You let the sound wash over you, each note folding your mind deeper into rest. The steward comes quietly one last time. His waistcoat tonight glimmers with threads of twilight blue, patterned like a horizon fading into sleep. In his hands he carries a small porcelain bowl filled with warm milk, scented with honey and lavender. He places it gently on your table, bows slightly, and whispers, "For dreams." You sip slowly, and the sweetness lingers, soothing and soft, dissolving whatever little edges of wakefulness remain. The conductor passes your door as well, lantern in hand. He pauses, looks at you with kind grey eyes, and says, "We are near the end of our passage. When you close your eyes, you'll arrive." He tips his hat, the lantern light brushing his face, and continues down the corridor. His words settle into you like a blessing, certain and kind. The train slows. You look through the window and see the final station. It is small, tucked between snowy hills, glowing with lanterns that sway in the quiet breeze. But no one waits on the platform, no bustle or hurry. It feels less like a place of departure and more like a doorway into dreams. The lanterns bow gently as the train glides past, their light like nods of farewell. You settle deeper into your seat, pulling the plaid throw up to your chin, the shawl the grandmother left folded across your lap. The candle flickers once, twice, then steadies into a tiny golden point, like the last star before dawn. Milky stretches, presses her paw to your chest, then curls again, her warmth a promise that you are safe. The train's rhythm softens. Hush, hush, shh. Slower now, slower still. Each sway rocks you further into the place between waking and dreaming. The mountains blur outside, the stars stretch into threads of light, and the world becomes softer with every breath. You close your eyes. The night serene carries you not to another station, not to another place, but gently into the realm of dreams. The candle fades, the violin falls silent, the cat purrs steady, and all that remains is peace. You are held, you are safe, you are home in the snowy Alps, on a cozy train that will ride through the night forever, carrying you deeper and deeper into sleep.